morning and welcome to all our listeners in Trinidad and Tobago and worldwide to this another program in the series Addiction and Recovery. And I just want to let our listeners know this is an interactive program. Of course, you can call 663-2335 or 663-1027 if you have any questions, and we will try to respond to them. And again, this program is posted on YouTube and Facebook soon after the end of the program. So those of you who can't listen to it in its entirety, or who may wish to send a link to someone who you believe could benefit from this program, you're quite welcome to do so. The program is again repeated on the same television station and radio at 10 p.m. tonight. So those of you who are at work or busy, you can tune in back and listen to the program then. And of course, my number 671-3040 is on the screen. You can call me after the program if you have any questions or comments that you would like me to address. So let me thank the people in the studio, especially Francis, who seek out these videos and put them up for us at the start, the lead up to the program, on the 12 steps, and this morning on mindfulness meditation. These are all very, very important tools that are used in treating drug addiction worldwide and has been found to be very successful. So that again, and I want to thank the Radio and TV Jagriti, the Mahasabha board, for giving us this time. It is given free of charge as a public service for all our listeners so that we know that there is, in spite of all of these programs, there's an ever increase in the problem of substance abuse and drug addiction worldwide. And I also know from, between programs, I get a lot of calls. I got a call just yesterday from a young man in Sangre Grande who has been listening to the program and who want to stop, who don't know how to stop. And I was able to send him the ID number and password for online meetings that we have every evening in Trinidad and Tobago. And I know that we have online meetings worldwide. This has become very popular since the COVID epidemic. A lot of people are now attending meetings online and they are staying sober. There are people, I know young people and women in particular, who felt it very uncomfortable to go to open AA meetings are now coming online because they can stay in the comfort and safety of their home without having to travel long distances or bother about who's looking at them, because generally the physical meetings are populated mostly by men, older men in particular. So a lot of young people and women in particular in the past express a certain level of discomfort, being in the physical environment with so many elderly men, and so now these people are coming too, and some are mixing it. Some are coming to the online meeting, and when they become comfortable, they have joined a home group. So that too is something that is very useful. This morning, I would really like to speak about insomnia. Insomnia is a condition where the person is having difficulty to fall asleep or stay asleep. And why? Because insomnia is one of the most significant withdrawal symptoms of drug addiction, especially alcoholism. Because alcohol is a sedative, people who have been using alcohol for a very long time, when they stop using it, whether they decide to do so deliberately or not, when alcohol is wearing out of the body, they naturally go into what is called withdrawal symptoms. Some of these withdrawal symptoms, well, one of them in particular is insomnia, that is having difficulty to sleep. But there are other withdrawal symptoms like anxiety, depression, nausea. Some people vomit, some people get hot and cold flushes, some people become very irritable. There's a host of withdrawal symptoms that happens whenever a person is trying to come off, whether it be illicit drugs or prescription drugs that are psychotropic, that are mind altering. So most of the medications that we use for psychiatric reasons, for mood disorders, for depression, for anxiety, for insomnia, all of these, they have withdrawal symptoms. So that you are advised that you should not stop them immediately because you can have severe reactions to them. Um, so that I have been, I have found that there's a very effective way to deal with these withdrawal symptoms. And acupuncture is now being used worldwide, especially in Europe and North America. And here in Trinidad, in my own practice, I use acupuncture to help people who would like to stop using alcohol or prescription drugs that they have become dependent on. So that the acupuncture coupled with counseling helps the person to be able to wean themselves off these drugs or come off of it completely. And this morning, I will share some tips with our listening public on how to drop asleep. I know not only people who use drugs have problem to drop asleep. There are people who might be going through a situational crisis, loss of a dear one, somebody close to them, a sibling or relative, a person facing serious financial difficulties who might have lost their job or their mode of income. Then there are people who might have been in a relationship that ended, going through divorce or separation, that they could also have difficulty now sleeping. And then there are people who have other health issues that prevent them from sleeping, like shoulder pain and lower back pain and all of that, so that every time they turn, they can't drop, they're in pain. So for a multitude of reasons, there are people who are having problems to sleep. There's also the whole question of a lot of people do not know how much sleep they need, because when we were born, we were sleeping, and in our early days of being a baby, we would sleep for 23 hours and just awake to be fed. And we needed all that sleep because our body was growing. But as we get older, we need less and less sleep, especially if we are not working very hard. If we are doing a sedentary job, or now we are old and we're not moving about very much or not very active, then we will not need as much sleep. The problem is a lot of people are unaware of that, and as a result, they start to panic. And one of the problems we are having is a lot of these people will, the first line of treating with this problem is to go to the medical doctor, the general practitioner. And I've mentioned in my program before, generally medical general practitioners are not really supposed to be prescribing, as far as I know, psychotropic drugs. This is really the realm and the specialty of psychiatrists. And I would like to say to all doctors, anyone, if you're prescribing a psychotropic drug for insomnia, a benzodiazepine, a sleeping pill, then it becomes your responsibility to make sure that you're not beginning to create a sense of dependence. And this is where it is important to counsel the patients on how to sleep naturally, how to treat with their expectations, to how to educate them as to how much sleep is necessary. And we also need to look at physical symptoms of sleep deprivation. One can look at a person and know if they look sleep deprived. And of course, from taking a history. And especially if the sleep deprivation is situational, then we need to work with that situation. If the person is going through a separation, a divorce, a financial problem, or whatever that is short term, that they are going to recover in a short period. And they also need to understand that. Problem is when they start taking these sleep aids or psychotropic drugs, in a matter of days, one can become dependent on them. Because dependence is not only physical, it is not only your body becoming biologically dependent on it. A lot of people start becoming very quickly psychologically dependent. And I have worked in the field of psychiatry at St. Anne's Hospital, at Ward 8 in Port of Spain, at Substance Abuse in Cora, Ward 1 in San Fernando. And so I speak from that experience where we may prescribe a drug, a short term, just to sedate the person, or but Trinidadians, they are very smart people. They read the labels, they understand that the drug is helping them to sleep, and they find a way very quickly to source it and to get the drug. So I will I will close this segment of the program at this stage, and we'll go into part two after a little intermission break. And when we come back, I will give you some physical and natural tips as to how you can go to sleep. So at this stage, we'll take a little break and we'll come back again.